So two things have been on my mind this week. One was that I was in Kingston at a bookstore, and looking around at the bookstore. How many people have been in a bookstore lately? Even before COVID, like how many bookstore? I was telling my kids what it was, like they weren't sure. They were like touching the book and going like, well, it's not on, you know. So on the pile of books, and they were like amazing books. Like, where am I? Like religion and I don't. For some reason, the woman came over to me and literally I didn't say a word. I was dressed like anyone else, and she said, "The astrology and New Age section is over here." Literally, I was like, "What's going? Did you talk to Nigel Savage? Like, what? How did you? What?" It's like, is there like a sign over my head, like a little ram glyph, like Aries? I don't know what. So I'm sitting there. We're going through the books, right? And by the way, incredible Judaica section, Kingston, New York. Like somebody dropped off 1,000 Jewish books, and I was like, "Oh, that's good." Where am I? I'm in Kingston. And on the top of the pile, Tal, my middle son Tal, comes over and he brings me a book and he says, "Abba, we got to read this one." And it said, "The Tale of the Yiddish Fish." Yiddish Fish. Know that one, Ed? Oh, man. I tell you, what a book. Well, I mean, let me just tell you the whole plot. I mean, the name of it. Like, so there's a fish, and it speaks in Yiddish. And I guess whatever it is, the purveyor is just completely shocked to see this fish talking in Yiddish. "Help me," or he says, "Help me." And so he feels for the fish. So to make a long story short, the fish is so compelling in its freakishness that they have to bring the fish back. And so they take the fish, and the fish jumped into the barrel, so they didn't know which fish spoke in Yiddish. So the whole barrel is freed. And the last scene of the book, of course, is the two men are standing on the shore, having heard some kind of beautiful melody wafting from the school of fish. The fish can be heard chuckling as they drive away. Those smart Yiddish fish. I was giggling so hard. I loved it. I read it a couple times. I bought it, took it home. You'll see in a moment, and those of you who already know where I'm going, like there's a lot to be said for talking animals in our tradition. Animals that talk. But first I want to talk about something that might be a bit risque in our synagogue, but we're starting up again, so let's start on the right foot, or on the other right part of the anatomy. You're behind. So I want to talk about your behind a little bit. And over the pandemic, you're sitting around, and I'm sure some of you at some point started Googling or YouTubing or some other form of looking for comedy, something to laugh at. Anybody do that at any point? If you didn't, please, you still have time. Go laugh. So one of the comedians that I got turned on to was a guy named Ismo. Anybody hear of Ismo? He's kind of a Finnish comedian. It's quite funny. He's done a number of pieces, kind of loves language. Did a piece on vegan, did a piece on another 4-letter word that I'm not going to mention. And the one piece that he became famous for, that he was on like Conan O'Brien for, and then he kind of took it on the road, was that he has a hard time, he says, learning English, because even though, he studied English in Finland and he came here, like it's a very complicated language. He said, like the word ass. Ass. Said it's like, I have a whole dictionary of different ways to use it. It doesn't mean the same thing in every moment, and it's completely confusing. And he has a whole list of them, and he says, at the beginning, he says, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, he says. It's like that's his joke. But this word, right, of course, which has become etymologically connected to some anatomical part of our body, is, of course, not the word for the anatomical part of the body that we use it for, but really that word is arse. But we who speak this English drop R's all the time. We're always dropping R's, right? Our English friends, Rabbi Gershuni and Nigel, we drop our R's. So ass, of course, doesn't mean that, but rather a donkey or jackass. And there's a mystical, mythical, magical ass, cum donkey, that appears in tomorrow morning's Torah reading in the story of Bilaam and his, as my dear child Bear will say, donkey. Where's that from? Shrek, of course. Right, Bear? Donkey. Donkey. This wild animal, or wild ass, this crazy animal, the Bible, of course, tells us that there's a prophet, his name is Bilaam. He gets hired by a king who's terrified of the Israelites who are on the march towards the promised land, and their kind of insurance policy makes sure that the Israelites are not successful. So he kind of hires the greatest prophet who isn't Jewish, named Bilaam. The rabbis actually say that Bilaam and Moses are kind of parallel. Lo kam Yisrael ki Moshe od, aval umot olam kam. Bilaam and Moshe are kind of like two sides of the same prophetic coin. And so this Bilaam is hired, and he makes his way. He says, okay, I'm going to go curse the Jewish people. And then this crazy story. Bilaam is walking along the way, and Horochev al atono, he's riding along on his donkey. Vatere aton et malach Adonai nitzav baderech v'charbo shtufa biyado. And he sees, the donkey sees that there's an angel, right? She sees, thank you. She sees that there's an angel along the way with a sword. Shlufa, it's like a sword that has been unsheathed. Vayamod malach Adonai b'mishmor ha'kramim, and this angel stands right in the vineyards with a fence on every side, and the angel is scary, and the donkey, right? The donkey starts to be afraid, and the donkey moves to the right and squeezes the leg of Bilaam, who's riding her, to the right, and then he hits her. And she goes over to the left, and she gets stuck against the fence on the left, and he hits her. He hits her 3 times. And he's hitting this donkey. He's hitting this ass. Vayiftach Adonai et pi aton, and now God opens up the mouth of the donkey. And she speaks. Ma'asiti lecha. What did I do to you? You could hear it like a Scottish, the brug. Why have you hit me now 3 times? And those who are close readers of the text, by the way, all of you here, close readers of the text, you're thinking, if Moses and Bilaam are connected in some parallel universe, right, which is, the Torah goes out of its way to say that these are 2 prophets, right, 2 of a kind. It's interesting to hear that in the very Parsha, after Moses hits a rock and is punished, that this Bilaam, this leader, also has an anger management problem. And we wonder to ourselves, what's going on here? Why are you abusing me? If I had a sword in my hand, said the donkey to Bilaam, I would have killed you. And I'm sorry, Bilaam says that to the donkey. Bilaam says to the donkey, why are you abusing me? Like, it's so painful. I'm trying to get where I have to go, and you are resisting where I want to go. I want to go somewhere. I have a goal. And what kind of resistance? You're supposed to be subservient. You're my donkey. Donkey, come on. And so he says, if you're lucky I don't have a sword, I would have killed you. And the donkey's thinking, what? You don't have a sword, but the angel has a sword. And so the donkey says back to Bilaam, and this is the great line. This is it. If you fell asleep until this moment, listen to this line, okay? Listen to this line. Vatomer ha'aton el Bilaam. And the aton, the donkey, the Shia says to Bilaam, Halo anochi, atoncha. Aren't I your donkey? Asher rachavta alai. You have been riding me your whole life. Have I ever done this to you? Ha'askein, hiskanti lasod chako. It's like such a rational conversation. He says, it's like, have I ever done this to you? And the donkey says, and Bilaam says, no. And that's it. That's the denouement. That's it. Nothing else happens. That was enough. The whole whacking and against the fence. And if you're watching this from outside going, what is going on here? All it took was the donkey to say, don't you know who I am? Do you have any reason to feel that I am not your ally? Have I ever given you want or excuse? Have I ever in any way, shape, or form made you question? You've been riding me your whole life. And so something anomalous, something charig happens, something yotzei min haklal, something like, oh, something here is different. And all of a sudden now, what an amazing moment. The moment an ally has become an enemy. The moment something that was in our favor becomes out of favor. The moment that which we depended upon says, I'm trying to send you a message for God's sakes. When the very thing which is bringing us to the goal becomes the thing that keeps us from it. The very thing that was bringing us to the goal becomes the thing that keeps us from it. And we say it all of a sudden in a moment, oh, I'm not going to listen more deeply here. It's very clear. I want to go there and you won't let me. I don't even know you. Are you my donkey? Have we met before? What a remarkable biblical text. What a remarkable biblical story about how so frequently that thing which is resisting, which is trying to get us a message, which is trying to say to us, stop. It's dangerous. If you keep polluting the earth, the very thing which was our ally turns against us, and we say, why are you turning against us with your weather patterns? And the donkey opens its mouth and says, well, let me just kind of paint a picture for you. If you see CO2 and keep doing it, and there won't be life left on earth, and no more Romamus, and no more babies, and no more anything, and so let's drill some more, baby. Or maybe it's your body, that ally that we whip and whip and whip. And the body one day says, you know what? If you keep singing like that, you'll have nodes. And you're like, no, I'm going to sing through those nodes. You were my ally. And he says, no, if you keep singing like that, you're hurting yourself. There isn't anything in this world that we haven't depended upon that will turn itself on us and tell us to listen deeply. And if we are listening deeply, we might get a message. It could be our health. It could be our community. It could be our relationship. It could be whatever it is. The thing that is resisting has every reason to resist because we're riding it into danger. But we'll keep whipping it. We'll just keep abusing ourselves, our planet, until we can't any longer. Until maybe, if we're lucky, maybe the thing will open up and say, you know what, you should trust me. Moses didn't trust the rock. The people of Israel didn't trust God after they came out. Trust me. I am telling you a message. Like it's an intervention, friends. This donkey was just sitting around and 12-step anonymous. It's prophets anonymous. And there's Bilaam. And the donkey sits down and goes, listen, my friend, it's not working. This whole thing, you see there's an angel over there and you just keep whipping me. It's not working, my friend. You're on the wrong path. This is called an intervention. How many people have ever been or done an intervention? You know that the messenger is the one who receives the brunt. As long as we're in some crazy addiction, we got to get where we have to go. It doesn't matter whom we step on or step over until a friend pulls us aside and says, you know what? No, bad idea. We can lose so much in those moments. If there's anything that on this Shabbat of pride that is valuable for us to remember is that the truth will win. The truth of your identity will win. You could try to suppress it your whole life, who you really are. Try to beat it out or go to some conversion therapy. try to convince you to be something other than what you are. Because the West or the society you live in or the culture is saying, we got to get you over there. And your conscience is saying, no, 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 please, please stop. Stop before it's too late. Stop. Be true. Be real. So Ismail has this joke. He's working his way through all of the different ways that we think about us. He says, it's interesting. When you tell somebody they're lazy, you tell them they have half-assed. But when you say to somebody, move your ass, it's the whole person, Not just the ass. Tomorrow morning's reading about the donkey is about moving the whole person. It's about the totality of what it is that we listen for and get information in order to know what has to happen next. And so resistance is part of the information that we need. The whole person. Not just the things that are clearly here, that's where I have to go, but also the things that hold us back are teaching us Torah if we listen. The whole thing. So I want to just invite you tonight, when you go home, to ask yourself, what have you been ignoring? What messages have been loud and clear in your life that you continue to push forward on at all cost? What messages in your life have been absolutely clarion clear to you for some time? Maybe they were even clearer over the last 14 months, but now without any shed of a doubt, any shred of a doubt, without any safek, you know. And I want to ask you tonight, you don't have to share this with somebody, it's kind of very personal, you only know yourself. Is the resistance that's asking you to move all of you, is it also an angel? Is it also a messenger? Is it also something that might be bringing you wisdom for the way forward? Please rise.